we are going to discuss about object-oriented programming. C++ is the object-oriented programming. Okay, first you need to understand that C++, the plus shows the extended version of C. Means C++ is the extended version of C. What does it mean? It means there were some disadvantages in C. That's why C++ has been developed. What were the disadvantages? First you get to know about that. So C, there is a C program which contains 100 lines. 100 lines, right? In this 100 lines, the first disadvantage is 100 line will take more memory. More memory means more complexity, work slow, right? Now, C is function oriented or procedure oriented programming. Okay. Now, this 100 lines, now what we have done, suppose in this 100 line, the 50th line got an error. So for rectifying that error, we need to go from 1 to 100. And to check whether this 50th line is working fine after rectifying the error, we need to go through from 1 to 100 again. So to overcome this thing, what we have done, we have divided this 100 line into the group of 20 lines. Now, suppose this sector got an error, so we just need to check this sector. We don't have to check this one. Okay, because we are getting the problem in this and these are working perfectly fine. So we will rectify this part only, and for after rectifying, if we have to check whether it is working fine or not, we have to check only the 20 lines. The group of 20 lines are called functions. Functions. See, now 20 lines advantages, 20 lines less memory, less complexity and works fast. C programming is nothing more than the group of functions. What are the functions? Printf, scanf, etc. etc. These are the functions. The group of functions. C is nothing more than that. So the functions has been declared and the advantages are it works fast. Right? Now, suppose there is a main function in which we have declared member functions of addition, subtraction and multiplication. Okay. So these addition will have their own body, subtraction will have their own body and multiplication will have their own body. These are nothing more than the sub program. What are they? Sub program. Suppose for working we have declared two variables before the main function. Any variable which is declared before the main function are called global variable. Global variable. There are two types of variables. First is global variable and the second is local variable. Global variables are declared before the program before the main function, and local variables which are declared inside any function. Right? Now, see, why it is called the global variable? Because this add can also use a plus b. This subtraction can also use a minus b, and this multiplication can also use a multiply b. Means the global variable can be used by addition as well as subtraction as well as multiplication. What does it mean? It means the data can travel throughout the program or anywhere in the program. Suppose this program contains 1000 lines. This is the project, big project. So it will be very difficult to get to know which function is using which variable. So what does it mean? Our data is not secure. Data is not hidden. But if any variable is declared, any function is declared, any variable inside it, used inside the function only. But these main variables can be accessed throughout the program. If the program is very big project, what does it mean? It will be very difficult to get to know which variables are accessed by which function. This was the disadvantage. To overcome this problem, what is the problem? To create the secure applications. To create the secure application. Security was the biggest concern. To create the secure application, now the object-oriented concept has been introduced. What we need to do now, in the object-oriented concept, suppose this is the global variable and we have to create a technique in which the add can use a plus b, the subtract can use a minus b, but we need to prevent multiplications to use this global variable. So what we need to do, we will create an object. We will create an object, and inside this object we will declare a and b. So now observe carefully, this a and b is declared to this object, and this object can be accessed by these two functions. Now this a and b is not accessible by multiplication. What does it mean? We have secured the data from multiplication, or we have hide the data from multiplication. So as you can see, in the object-oriented programming, the data and the functions are associated with objects. That's why it is called object-oriented programming. For example, suppose we are comparing this function-oriented and object-oriented now. See, suppose there is a student which have ID, name, fees and course. Okay, in the function-oriented programming, all the data can be accessed by anyone, any function, right? So if we want to know which function is using which student, we will not be able to get to know. But in the object-oriented programming, this data has been declared, and suppose the fee is 1000 rupees. Fee is 1000 rupees for student 1. So this data, this fee will belong to this ID only, but the fees will be 1000 for the other student, but this fee will be belongs to this ID only. And how we can do that? We will declare a function in it, and this function will be bounded by object 1. So when we have to check the student 1, we will call the function with the help of object 1. Similarly, if we have to create some more data, student 2, the same thing can be used with the function, but the object will be different. So other function or different function cannot access the different object data. The data is secured now. The data is hidden now. This was the biggest disadvantage for object-oriented programming. Now, user are able to create secure application. In the today's all the things, all the program, all the things, all the result user are getting are object-oriented. See how? Let's take an example. Suppose you have gone a supermarket and you are getting the bill. So the bill will be like item, quantity, price, total. So item A, quantity 2, price is 10. So the total will be 20. Item B, quantity is 1, price is 100. So the total will be 100. Item C, quantity is 5, price is 10. So the total will be 50. And at last, total will be 170. See, these all are the data items, the data values. But how they are getting differentiated? This B is not getting merged with A. This C is not getting merged with two other. Why? Because these all belongs to different type of objects. In the present world, this is the live example. In the present scenario, all the things are created or work according to the object-oriented principle. In object-oriented programming, the data and the functions are associated with the objects. That's why they are called object-oriented programming. No outers are allowed. No outers are allowed. See, no outers are allowed. That is what object-oriented programming is. In the next session, we are going to learn the features of object-oriented programming. Thank you and keep computing.